So today's video is going to be a little different than most that I do. I am actually going to pretend that I am personally buying a house in this market that we are in. I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks that I would personally use if I was purchasing right now. And if you stick around to the end, and you better stick around to the end, I'm going to provide you a link to a checklist that you could actually use to purchase a house yourself with all these tips and tricks. That's coming up next. Hey everybody, it's Matt Allen here once again. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. If you're new to my channel, I would really appreciate you taking the time to hit that subscribe button. I try to provide as much information about what's happening in the real estate market here in Central Florida, providing tips and advice on what to do in real estate. This information can be used around the United States, around the world. If you are buying or selling property, take a time to hit that bell and be notified when the next video becomes available. Today, I'm going to take kind of a different approach. I'm going to pretend that I am a buyer. What steps I would do if I'm buying a property in today's market.
Oh, really?
I'm going to make up some information, so it's more on just the steps that I would take. First and foremost in the process is going to be to take out a sheet of paper and write down a few things. First and foremost, what are my must-haves? At the top of that list needs to be location. Where am I going to live? You can always find the house in different locations, but you can't move that location, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So start with that location and we'll find the house around that location. Whether it's a city, a zip code, whatever it might be, an area on a map or a neighborhood, make sure you've zoned in on that. And then other must-haves. Bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, anything you just will not budge on, you will not live without, you must have in the house. After that, you're going to put together a list of things that would be nice to have, but if they're not there, you know, it's not the end of the world type of thing. Those are usually pools or games rooms or things like that. Also on your list, make sure you put, do you want a one-story, a two-story? Does the master need to be downstairs? Are there any special needs that you're going to have to provide? You know, if you've got an older parent that's living with you and you need a second bedroom on the first floor, you know, those things are very important to know ahead of time. All right, the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to talk to one of my favorite lenders and kind of get a gauge based on my income, based on my debt, things like that, as far as what I can afford for a house. And probably at this point, I would fill out an application to make sure, you know, I am not looking at something that's way over my budget. And I know what my payments are going to be, you know, ballpark figures. So that's next on my list. Once I've got that completed, the search process begins. All right, for the sake of time, I've gone ahead and put in some criteria, my must-haves. And again, I'm just making this information up. That I want to live in Windermere. I want the price range to be between $600,000 to $800,000. And I'm keeping this pretty general to start with, and you're going to see why in a moment. Just in that zip code alone, there's only 6 properties with just 3 criteria in. So make sure you kind of start pretty vague and simple in your search. You may want to add in a few more zip codes and things. But once you have that in, you've got a list of criteria, you're going to go to those results. Now, I know not everybody has the MLS. If you are looking for a great platform to search houses, you can always go to my website, www.theallenrealestateteam.com or allenrealestateteam.com, and you can use that search site there. It's very good. It provides just about all the information that you're going to see here. So once I've got my list, I am going to start looking at houses. And let's just start here at Lake Sawyer Shores. Next thing I want to do is kind of get a feel for the location. Now this picture, this initial picture, doesn't tell me enough about the house. I can scan through and look at it. I see one problem that I probably would be a concern of mine is these power lines. So that's going to probably negate this one straight away. It's also next to a street that's next to what looks to be a larger street. So I'd probably kind of skip this one just based on that. But what I typically do is try to go through some criteria up front to find, exactly what I'm looking for. So from the front, this house looks promising for me. Let's just say the layout works for me. The next thing I would do is go to a map. And I tell my clients this all the time. Start with a map, look at where it's located in the neighborhood, and you can scale down. You can do this through Google Maps. You can do it through a lot of services to kind of get a feel for how close are the houses? Where is it located in relationship to downtown Orlando or where I work or something like that. But you can get a lot of information from here. Not start with was looking at the marketing remarks, looking at number of bedrooms, bathrooms, because I already have that information in. And I really need to start with a location. Remember we talked about that. So once I've figured out that this is probably going to work for me, the location is good, the look of the house is good, the next thing I'm going to look at is a days on the market. This is going to give me some information about how desirable this house actually is. And if you look here, this one in particular has been on the market 37 days. That is a little bit concerning. There's no other way of saying it. I know typically 37 days is not a lot of time, but for this to be on the market 37 days, there may be some issues going on or pricing issues, probably, what's happening. So the next thing I will do is look at property history. I look at how long it's been on the market. It looks like it's been was leased for a while. It went pending back in 2018, but there hasn't been any price changes on the house since it's been listed. So at this point in the process, I'd really make a decision whether this house is going to work for me or not, and now is a good time to try to figure that part out. If it was me buying this house, there would be no way I'd move forward at this point based on location, the space between the houses. Again, personal preference type of thing. So I would go back to my main list and look at the next house. For the sake of time, I'm going to find a house that was going to work perfectly for this situation, and then we'll work through it from this point moving forward. Good news, I found the house that I think is going to work for me. For demonstration purposes, I will tell you this is one of my listings that we just put under contract this week. So I know it's a great house. I've looked at the location. Now I want to read through the listing. I want to look at the marketing remarks. I want to look through the pictures again. I know where it's located in the neighborhood. I've looked and it's only been on the market 5 days, which is good. Square footage works for me. Then I look at public record type of thing. And you can go to the county, or if you're working with an agent like me, I can go to the county, find out permits, if there's any open permits, find out what the taxes are with the MLS, and a lot of search sites now, they give you that information right on it. But make sure you're comfortable with these numbers. This one in particular, $8,200 in taxes last year. Make sure you're okay with the HOA fees. That's extremely important. Now this one looks a little high. It's $1,186 per quarter, but it also includes things like lawn maintenance, landscaping, irrigation. It has a gated community with a security guard. So there's a lot of things that you get for the money that you won't have to pay out of your own pocket for. So keep that in mind. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to take us through the process of setting up the showing. I'm going to do a second video next week on from showing to putting the offer together, as far as my steps would be with that. But now that I kind of narrowed it down to a house I'd like to look at, I'm going to go out in my car and drive that neighborhood before I even set up the showing, just to make sure it works for me. I'm going to look in public record to see, there's a lot of websites right now that give you crime rates in the particular area. I want to check the school districts to make sure it's going to work for my kids. I'm going to check and see if it's close by to the things that are on my secondary list, which is like shopping, restaurants. Do I want to be close to the soccer field? Do I need to be close to I-4 or some other major intersection to get to my job? So all of those things can be done while you're physically driving in a car. After that, we are pretty much ready to go. Once you've gone through those steps, we're going to make the call to set up the appointment. Now, I know what you're saying. That seems like a tremendous amount of work to go through before even looking at the house. But keep in mind the market we're in right now. Houses are moving in very quickly, days, hours. And there's not a lot of time to digest that information after you've seen it. So once you've seen it, you're going from the house to making the offer. So you've got all that other work out of the way so you can get that offer in quick. So that's the only reason we do a lot of this stuff up front. So you're ready to go, and you can do this with 1, 2, maybe 3 houses. In the old days, we'd go out and look at 6 houses and then think about it for a day or two. That doesn't work these days. I'll be honest with you, I've had to do all your homework ahead of time so that when you tell me that's the house, we go back and make an offer right away. I hope this was helpful. I will do part 2 from showing the house to making the contract. I'll get that done here shortly. In the meantime, if you check in the link below, I'm going to provide the checklist that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. I hope this was helpful for you. If you do have questions or you think there's some other things that we should look at, by all means, drop them down below. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Check out the video over here. It's on no nonsense approach to making